Hi everyone, in this video I'd like to provide some introduction to the neural network in a simple way. Neural network is a very popular method in the age of machine learning and AI, but it is a rather complex concept and it is challenging to have a full understanding of this method and how to implement it. It is not hard to find many videos on neural network on YouTube or the internet. Many of them are on an advanced level requiring some strong background on mathematics. We start seeing more fun videos explaining the concept of neural network in a simple way to help the audience gain a basic understanding of this method. In this video, I intend to explain the neural network method in a simple way without showing mathematical expression. But I do not mean for it to be fun. I want it to be practical, so you can actually conduct some neural network research. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe for more videos about the data mining method and other videos about data analytics and data science. Neural network is not a new concept, but it is a complex method. So in the past, very few scientists actually understood and could implement it. With the advancement of data mining and machine learning, we start seeing more actual applications using neural network in real life, which makes this method more popular. Some examples that we see very often in the media or in our daily activities, including the Tesla autopilot, Apple facial recognition, robots that can talk and operate, and deepfake technology that can put one person's face into another's face that can fool anyone. As you can see in this example, deepfake was used to put Stallone's face in Schwarzenegger's body in the Terminator 2 movie. It is hard for us to see that the left picture is a fake one. I do not intend to explain how those technologies work since those are some expensive and extensive neural network applications that require a lot of resources and teams of data scientists working for a long period of time. As mentioned before, my purpose is to provide some simple introduction and explanation of this method that might help you do your research using neural network. Simply put, neural network mimics the human brain's biological neural network. That explains the term neural network and also indicates the complexity of this concept because we all know human brain is the most complex network. As we continue to explore this method, it gets more complex. It is like as we go to an intersection, we see more roads ahead, and the deeper we go, the network gets bigger. The diagram on the left shows you some typical types of neural network models. The node, also called cell or neuron, represents one variable or unit in the network. These nodes can move forward, backward, back in time, or interact with other nodes. That's how complex the network can get. Neural network is a math-based, so each type of neural network model consists of multiple mathematical expressions to capture the connections among those nodes. So the fundamental question is, how do we understand it in a simple way without any mathematical formulas? Okay, let's get started. First, let me provide you with one of many definitions of neural network. SAS Institute defines neural network as computing systems with interconnected nodes that work much like neurons in the human brain. Using algorithms, they can recognize hidden patterns and correlations in raw data, cluster and classify it, and over time, continuously learn and improve. That is not hard to understand at all, right? Let's look at the diagram I provide here. In a simple sense, a neural network consists of three types of layers: input layers, hidden layers, and output layers. Input layer includes predictors in our model, and output layers include the target variables that we want to predict. Hidden layers include multiple hidden nodes that connect input layers to output layers in different ways. Hidden layers play an important role in detecting the patterns from the data. Hidden nodes help build a neural network that fits the data by creating numerous permutations of network connections. Depending on the number of variables and noise in the data, we may have more or less hidden layers. So one of the key decisions in neural network modeling is the number of hidden layers we need and the number of nodes in each layer. We'll get to that later. Note that in this video I will not get into the complex forms of neural networks such as deep learning, convolutional neural net, recurrent net, etc. We mainly focus on the standard form of neural network, which is feed-forward, or the proper name is multi-layer perceptron feed-forward. Sounds fancy enough? Let's look at some actual diagrams of neural network. On the left, we have a typical neural network model with one hidden layer. Again, these nodes are so-called cells or neurons. When we have more than one hidden layer, the network is called artificial neural network. You know it by a more common name, deep learning. Of course, an actual deep learning network will have much more than just two or three hidden layers. The green nodes represent input nodes, which are predictors in our model. The blue nodes present our output nodes, which are target variables in our model. Neural network can be used for both categorical or continuous target variables. The yellow nodes represent hidden nodes, which connect input nodes with output nodes. These connections represent the neural network model. So how do we express those connections without getting into complex math? In this slide, I use neural network structure with one hidden layer. Basically, an output node is a function of hidden nodes connecting to that node and corresponding weights. In essence, each route from a hidden node to an output node has a weight, similar to regression weight. The weights capture the importance of that relationship in the model. Similarly, a hidden node is a function of input nodes connecting to that node and corresponding weights. In each equation, we also have bias node. The bias node allows us to shift the function left or right, which would be important for training the model. The function we talk about here is called activation function. The mathematical expressions of these connections are much more complex, but trust me, that is all they mean. So you may wonder why I do not present these equations as a linear regression equation with intercept plus regression weight times input variables. The reason is that activation function could be either linear or nonlinear. This is a strength of neural networks since it can capture the nonlinear relationships between input nodes, hidden nodes, and output nodes in a complex network structure. Let's see some typical types of activation functions. Note that there are a number of activation functions we can use. I just want to show you three common ones. The first one is a linear activation function, which is similar to the linear multiple regression equation. The relationship between two nodes is linear and represented by a straight line. What's more interesting is how neural network can capture nonlinear relationships among nodes in the network. Two common nonlinear activation functions include sigmoid and hyperbolic tangent. Don't worry about the mathematical expression, but rather focus on the shape of the curve and the range of values. Sigmoid function has a curve similar to a logistic function. The function produces values in the range from 0 to 1. Hyperbolic tangent has a similar curve but produces values in the range from -1 to +1. We will not know in advance which function works better than the others. Depending on the data, we will need to train our model and search for the right solution. We will get to that later. Thus, we have learned about neural network structure, nodes, layers, relationships among nodes, and activation functions. Before we start constructing and training a neural network model, there is one last thing we need to know: normalization. The primary purpose of normalization is to convert input and output variables to the same scale, which would help improve the model training efficiency and results interpretation. Many variables are on different scales. Sometimes the difference is very significant, which may cause longer training time and less accurate prediction. In addition, it's also harder to interpret the outputs. By normalizing these variables, we can improve the training efficiency and interpret the results since now all variables are in the same scales. There are three common normalization approaches. Do not get intimidated by the formulas. They are quite simple, but I will not focus on them, but rather the ranges of values. The first one is to use z-score, a common approach in statistics. Z-scores, technically speaking, can be any number, but in reality, they usually range between -4 and +4. A more common range for z-score is between -3 and +3. Second, normalization uses max and min values, which produce values in the range from 0 to 1. This method is usually used with the sigmoid activation function. And third, adjusted normalization also uses max and min values with some adjustments, which produce values in the range from -1 to +1. This method is usually used with the hyperbolic tangent activation function. Now we have everything to construct and train our model. Some key decisions we have to make in this process include the number of hidden layers, the number of nodes or neurons in each hidden layer, and the activation functions for hidden nodes and output nodes. These are not easy decisions to make since there are no straight rules to determine those numbers. Depending on the data, we'll have to go through many iterations to find a good solution. One method that's commonly used by computer scientists is programming. If you're good at programming, you can write some heuristic program in MATLAB or Python to search for the optimal number of layers and nodes. The activation functions still need to be determined by trial and error. This approach certainly does not work if you are not a programmer. Since you are watching this video, I will talk about some easier options. In the past, it was almost impossible to construct neural network without programming. SAS used to be a hard-to-learn software for that reason. Nowadays, data mining software applications have grown substantially, and many of them offer user-friendly interface with point-and-click features. Software like SAS Enterprise Miner, SPSS Modeler, and Rapid Miner allow us to construct neural network modeling with many features. One important feature that we should know is auto-neural. This feature runs the searching for us to find optimal solutions, and we do not have to worry about programming. We just need to enter some primary configurations for our model, including the number of hidden layers and nodes, maximum number of iterations, architecture of the network, and how to stop the training. The built-in search feature will run the search to find the optimal network model for us. Sounds too good to be true? Yes, because there's a catch. The autoneural features does not automatically and always find the most accurate model. We still need to perform numerous trials and errors until we find the one that works. We also need to decide how to stop the training because we cannot let the computer run forever. The first method is overfitting. That means the software stops the training if the algorithm detects the overfitting in the model based on a specific criterion. The second method is training error, meaning the software will stop the training when a certain training error level is achieved. And third, we can set a time limit to tell the software to stop training when a certain time has passed. Trust me that neural network training takes much more time than other methods, such as logistic regressions or decision tree. Given the number of layers, nodes, and permutations of relationships, that need to be analyzed. But even with those stopping rules, we still could achieve a poorly fit model. So we'll have to repeat the process with different configurations. The predictive accuracy and predictive power should be evaluated to decide whether we have a good model. In another video, I'll show you an example of using SAS Enterprise Miner Auto Neural feature. SAS has a wonderful workspace that allows us to include many neural network models with different configurations, run them, compare them, and select the champion model. Please see the data mining process in my video introduction to data mining. After we find the champion model, we need to present and interpret the results. First, we need to present the model performance, which includes predictive accuracy and predictive power. Note that the outputs are different for categorical and continuous target variables. If you have a categorical target variable, then we use misclassification rate for predictive accuracy. The classification chart presents the same information. The predictive power can be evaluated by sensitivity and specificity, which are calculated from the confusion metric. We also use lift chart and ROC chart for this purpose. If we have a continuous target variable, we use average square error or ASE or mean absolute error or MAE for predictive accuracy. The predicted by observed chart also provides the visualizations of the predictive accuracy. For predictive power, in this case, we need to use R square to show the percentage of the variance in the target variable is explained by predictors. We can also use predicted by residual chart to indicate whether there is any pattern or residual is random. Finally, we need to interpret the neural network model itself. Of course, we have the weights for all relationships. However, due to the number of hidden nodes in the network structure, the weights and equations do not make much sense since they are too complex to show how each predictor contributes to the prediction of the target variables. The more meaningful results is variable importance. In essence, numerous sensitivity analyses need to be done to evaluate how changes in one predictor would change the target variable. Based on these analyses, we are able to determine the importance of each predictor in percentage. Fortunately, most software programs do this for us. The bad news is they do not produce this output in an easier way as they do for decision tree or random forests. For example, SAS Enterprise Miner, I have to use some tricks to get the variable importance chart. I will show this trick in another video. And if you want to learn more about how to present the methodology and results of the data mining research in a research paper, please see my video Data Mining Results Presentations. The last thing that I want to show you in these videos are the advantages and disadvantages of neural network. Neural network is a powerful machine learning method and it has many advantages over other methods. First, neural network stores information on the network instead of the database. So the loss of data does not affect the network performance. This strength allows the neural network to work with incomplete information or missing data. Of course, the performance may start deteriorating if we have a significant amount of missing data. Second, neural network can produce good predictive performance and have the tolerance to noisy data and complicated relationships. It performs well with complex network structure, and with the right configurations, we can achieve very high predictive accuracy. Third, it is not limited to input data, since it uses many hidden layers to create connections between layers. More information is created in the training process to produce a good model. Fourth, neural network can detect well nonlinear relationships in a complex network. As discussed, we have a wide range of activation functions that we can use to train the model. Fifth, neural network is a fault tolerant. In other words, corruptions of one or more nodes in the network does not prevent it from generating output. And six, neural network has the parallel processing capability to perform multiple tasks at the same time, which can enhance the modeling efficiency. On the other hand, neural network also has several disadvantages. The first one is the black box nature of a neural network. In other words, we feed the input data to the model and it predicts the values of the output variables. But we do not really understand what's going on in the black box. Explained before, the neural network results include the network structure with layers and nodes and weights for each relationship. The number of hidden layers and hidden nodes make the network very complex and hard to understand and interpret. Presenting them in mathematical equations does not help either. Second, neural network does not have the built-in variable selection mechanism as other methods such as decision tree or random forest. All predictors will be entered into the network, which could affect the training process. Third, neural network requires a massive amount of data to train the model effectively, which makes it hard to find data for model training. Insufficient data may result in poor model fit. Fourth, there are no straightforward rules in determining the right configurations for the network structure. The process requires a lot of trials and errors. In addition, there's potential local optimums in the searching process, which does not allow us to find the best network structure. Fifth, the use of too much data could lead to overfitting concern in which the neural network model is too closely fitted to the training sample, which makes it difficult to fit in other samples. In other words, the model is not generalizable to other datasets. Sixth, as mentioned before, there is no easy way to produce variable importance, and additional steps are needed to get these important results. Finally, the complex network structure requires a lot of training time. I usually experience 1 to many hours of training time to get the solution. And since the process requires some further adjustment, it takes much more time to get the outputs we need. So computers with high computing power are needed to effectively train and build a neural network. This is a big disadvantage since other machine learning algorithms, including methods such as random forest, gradient boosting, usually takes us a few minutes to get the results. Despite those disadvantages, neural network is still a powerful machine learning and its applications are growing rapidly, especially deep learning method. By understanding its strengths and weaknesses, we can have a good strategy to use this method for our research. Again, the purpose of this video is to provide simple introduction and guideline for implementing neural network, complex machine learning algorithm. My perspective is that we should be able to use this powerful machine learning method without being an expert in math or computer science. After all, technology has advanced significantly to allow us to use these advanced methods in practice without any major difficulties. Neural network research is no longer theoretical but could be applicable. I have another video showing how to do that using SAS Enterprise Minder. You should be able to find it on my channel. This is the end of this video. I hope it gives you useful information and explanation of neural network method in a simple way and some key points to remember. Please subscribe to my channel if you have not subscribed. Thank you and bye now.